This is Jeff J. Hunter, and you're tuned in to the Head Smack Podcast. I tried to vary off the script there. That didn't pay out.
You are listening to Conversations with Misfits, Mavericks, and Trailblazers.
Hey, welcome to the Head Smack Podcast. My name is Paul Povolni. So excited to have Jeff J. Hunter on the podcast today. I've known Jeff for quite a while. Followed his adventures. Jeff is known as the Savage Marketer. And if you watch this video, you'll see the swag that he is wearing to represent.
Swagged out.
He is also one of the top AI consultants for marketing and copywriting. Jeff, so good to have you on, man.
It's a pleasure, Paul. Exciting times.
It is. And I love the swag. And, I was going to wear my hat, in honor of Jeff. It seems that every time you have a new project, a new thing that you're doing, you always get the swag to match. And I've never seen anybody swag out as much as you do. So that's pretty awesome.
I got a whole wall of hats with different swag. So, it's funny because I kind of owned that brand. I'd say I kind of 2018-ish, I just started wearing hats. Funny enough, because I had some skin cancer going on. And the doctor was like, well, I'm bald, so you should probably wear a hat when you go around places. And I said, you know what? Sure, I'll own it. So every brand that I create and every brand I work with, I always make sure that they send me a hat or I build a hat. So now I have a whole wall of hats.
Nice. Well, I'm kind of the same way. I don't wear hats that much because I have hair for one thing.
You have beautiful hair, man.
But I've just got a big fat head, and so like buying hats that don't look like I've got like a little lid on my head or a little beak on top of my head doesn't work when you got a big head, and so I don't wear them as much. I want to be a hat wearer, but it just doesn't work out for me. But anyway, man, glad you got the right shaped head for it, and I don't. And so,
I got a nice round one.
Yeah, nice round head. All right, so Jeff, you're the Savage Marketer, and I want to talk about what that means to be a Savage Marketer. But before we go into that, I want to hear a little bit about your story. You've had quite an adventure. I know you've done quite a few things along the way. What is the origin story of Jeff J. Hunter?
Well, I guess you could say I've always been obsessed with computers my whole life. And, from moving around a lot when I was a kid, I didn't really have like a home base per se. I would usually live somewhere 3 or 4 years and then we'd move somewhere else. So I never really had a best friend, I guess, like most people have. And my best friend was really my Nintendo. And that's pretty much how it worked. So What ended up happening for me was I became kind of an introvert, I guess, and just wasn't comfortable around people. And the computer, it always listened. It always did what I asked it to do. It always provided all sorts of entertainment. And funny enough, I went into the IT field, worked at my very first computer store when I was like 13, for free. Wow. Imagine that, people actually, learning something and not expecting to be paid. And then, I went to college for IT, computer information systems, and found out that I guess I love computers, but I didn't like the coding aspect of it.
Yeah.
I was more of a communications guy. So I went into business, and next thing you know, I've always had a full-time job. I worked at a school as like a tech, like I was one of those techs in the school.
Yeah.
And then I became an IT coordinator for an entire district. And then I got recruited to work at Philips Electronics as an IT project manager. I did that.
Oh, wow.
And then I gave all of that up when I found out the power of virtual assistants.
Nice. So tell me about that story. How did you jump into the space of virtual assistants? I know right now you have that's a business. That's part of what you do. But how did you jump into that space, and when did that happen?
So around 2014, I just got tired of all the work. I was a project manager and a lot of documentation. And what happened was I just was like, man, there's got to be a better way. So I went online trying to figure out who could do this for me. And I found a guy in Pakistan for $5. He said he was Project Management Institute certified, which even I wasn't. And I said, how the heck this guy is working for $5 an hour on
Yeah.
Fiverr.com back when it was still $5.
Yeah.
And so I tried it out, and he did a really good job. As a matter of fact, he did such a good job so fast that I knew that if I had turned my documentation into my boss, he would be like very suspicious, you know, because typically
How's Jeff
after,
getting it done so fast? Yeah.
yeah, exactly, and the quality was way better quality than what I did. But what was crazy was, you know, I actually faced a lot of like weird resentment and stuff. Like I had some project managers that were kind of like, dude, you know, like the heck, man, you know, because you're raising the bar.
Yeah.
And what was really
You're making us
interesting,
look bad.
yeah, exactly. Well,
Yeah.
now they just know they have to do more work, and they don't have the VA like me to do it
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
So what ended up happening was I just knew that actually could be a business model. So I became a top 5 project manager at the company nationwide.
Yeah. Wow.
Basically, I started telling a couple people about my secret, about how I had a virtual assistant. They wanted me to help them find one, which I did. But then I found out
Yeah.
that most people suck at delegation. They definitely weren't good at training. So they were basically like, hey, can I pay you to train my VA for me?
Wow.
And I turned that into a business. And now I have over 150 virtual assistants at VA Staffer. And the funny part is I only work about 15 minutes a day on that business. I do a call from 9 to 9:15 every morning, and it runs itself. I have a leadership team that does the sales. They do uh, the onboarding and training. They do the recruitment. They do the website stuff. They do the graphic design stuff. Like, and so I get to do what I actually love to do, which is go back to computers and AI.
Yeah.
But
So,
not
you know,
people. Not
so
people.
when it came to the job that you first, you know, employed a VA, how did the place that you work at, how did they respond to you using a VA? Like, you know, that was 2014. It wasn't as big
Well,
of a deal as it is now.
in 2014, you know, remote teams were still kind of a taboo thing. I remember when I first got hired there, my boss always told me, he said, when you go into the main office, you know, don't tell them that you work at home. You know, they look at you, they treat you differently.
Yeah.
Now, the other side of that was hiring your own virtual assistant, you know, didn't go through HR, you know, paying out of your own pocket. Um, it was questionable, you know, and
Yeah.
even though I didn't violate anything, you know, I still got written up. So
Oh, wow.
I had 2 bosses. I had an operations manager who thought I was a genius. I had a regional manager who was like, dude, what the hell?
Yeah.
So my operations manager actually, he was really cool. And he actually wrote me on my LinkedIn, you know, recommendations like, hey, I don't, and he sent me a message like, dude, I don't, you know, when I finally left, I just had enough. I became an entrepreneur officially in 2016,
Yeah.
where a full-fledged, full-time entrepreneur, where I turned my side hustle into my dream. And, you know, it was just, it was wild. You know, the crazy part is, since you and I are so obsessed with branding, the crazy part was before I had left and I started branding myself a little bit more on LinkedIn. And I remember my manager called me up and said, dude, I noticed that you like updated your LinkedIn profile. Like, what's going on?
Oh, no.
So
Yeah.
that was my first time really feeling the scarcity that is inside these corporations, and how much of a threat the personal brand people have is to the organization.
Yeah, yeah. They were saying that you were possibly creating an exit strategy or something, like you were making them nervous. So they didn't promote you. They didn't like say, "Hey, teach this to everybody else." What happened? Did they get nervous? Did they promote you? Did they kick you out? What happened?
Yeah. Well, that's bringing back some memories right there. I do believe Well, there's a couple things here. There's a couple things here to digest. Number one is there's a lot of reasons why I left the job. One, I actually loved it. Like it was my dream job. It was the best and last job I'll ever have.
Yeah.
It really was great. Funny enough, what you said was the opposite. I actually got promoted 2 weeks before
Yeah.
I decided to quit.
Oh, wow.
I got promoted to a project manager, Roman numeral 3, PMIII. So, and they gave me a 20% raise, which I was like, wow, this is fantastic. But the problem was they took me from the hourly rate to a salaried rate. And I was working like 35% overtime, which is paid at time and a half. So actually, the reason why 2 weeks later I decided I should start making my exit was because after they promoted me and I got my first paycheck, it was less.
Oh, wow.
I said, "Holy crap, you guys are actually paying me less."
Yeah.
I thought they were looking out for me and that they enjoyed it, and they were actually just trying to screw me over.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
So I was
So
kind of
therefore the exit
shocked.
came.
Yeah, and there were some other events that really led up to that moment too. Like, my dad had been going through a really hard time. He was diagnosed in February 2015 with basically stage 3, stage 4 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Told he wouldn't be able to live to Christmas that year. I basically was told when I was hired by them back, almost 4 years ago, they said that they just needed me to temporarily move to Portland and that I was going to be temporarily up there, but then I could move back to California with my family after a couple of years. Well, here it is 4 years later, and I still hadn't had a chance to move back. And when I put in my request, hey, my dad's dying of cancer, I want to move back, they said, sorry, Jeff, we just don't have anyone to replace you right now.
Wow. And so
And then,
that was your last job, huh? Now, was that your first job out of college?
no, matter of fact, I had two careers during college that people went to college to get. As a matter of fact, I wasn't even fully graduated from college when I was the IT coordinator for a district, and I wasn't even graduated from college when I started my job at Philips as an IT project manager. I was still going
Wow.
through like my last semester when they hired me.
Yeah. And how
So,
long did it take you to graduate from college?
it took me like 10, maybe 12 years. I'm thinking, let's see, I started uh, yeah, I'd say like 10 to 12 years. I've always had a full-time job. I've
Yeah.
always worked, and I kind of went to college. Like my first year when I tried doing just the full-time student thing, I knew that wasn't going to work. I basically just messed around,
Yeah.
and I was just so bored out of my mind. So I went and, went back to work, and I was just doing college like, 3 nights a week type thing. But I will tell you this: when I was the IT coordinator for a school district, that was really tough because I was going to work from 7 o'clock until 4 o'clock every day,
Mm.
and it was a 25-minute drive to work, and then it was another 35-minute to 45-minute drive to college, and I would go to
Wow.
college class from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. 3 or 4 nights a week, and I had to drive another 30 minutes back home. I did not have a life for like the last couple
Wow.
of years of my
Wow.
college.
Wow.
But I,
Well, it sounds
but
like you've always had hustle and grind as a part of who you are, from early on and through college and through having jobs through college and then, working in IT and then finding a VA to make your hustle and grind a little easier, which then led, of course, to starting a VA company. And so, that is a unique thing that you put a lot of effort into, a lot of work. You said you had 150 employees at this point. Is
yeah,
that what? Yeah. And so when it comes to, using a VA, who is a VA perfect for and who is it not going to work for?
before we go into that, I want to talk about the entrepreneurial ADD. So you mentioned about how I've always been, hustle and whatever else not. And I think that some people, I think most of us, if we dig deep enough, we have this innate desire to achieve and do something, and some more than others. Like for me, they usually say, well, most people are either a stick person or a carrot person, right? Like you're either motivated because you see success and you're like, ooh, that's what I want. You see money and power or whatever. Or you're like, damn it, I got to do something because if I don't, I'm going to get hit.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm going to do something because I'm about to get hit kind of guy. Like right now, I'd much rather be playing video games than even being right here. Like I'm a video gamer. Yeah, you know that.
Yeah.
So, okay. So on that entrepreneurial ADD, what I've learned over the years is, and goes all the way back to my IT, up into project management, even to what I do now, is that you have to look at the order in which you get things done. Because the question isn't, do you need a VA? Who needs a VA? It's when.
Yeah.
It's when you need the VA. Because I truly, and this not just because I own a VA company, I've helped hundreds and hundreds of people over the years, even people that aren't even my own clients, work on their own life to prepare for a VA. Okay.
Yeah.
And the ADD comes back to another acronym here: automate, delegate, delete. Okay. And in that
Nice.
order, by the way. Okay.
Yeah.
That's why it's ADD. And it's, by the way, even easier with AI now, right?
Right.
Because there's so many things you can automate with AI. There's so many things you can just automate in general, like email marketing. And now you can, your social media content, all sorts of stuff that you need to do that in the past you'd have to hire somebody to do. Okay.
Right.
So I will explain this order of the ADD. Automate. Okay. So what can you use AI to do right now before you hire a person? Because when you hire a person, there's a lot of drama that comes with that. There's them and their family. You're supporting someone else.
Right. Right.
Are you prepared? Do you have training materials to have them come on your business? Do you have enough work for them to do when they come in your business? Are you going to like that person? Then all the stuff that comes with that hiring the right person. Does this person work for someone else? Are they a freelancer? Are they dedicated to me? Do they care about my vision? There's so many things with humans.
Right.
AI is very simple. Can it do what I need it to do? Because see, the AI is never going to complain. It's never going to roll their eyes when you ask them to do it again because you don't like it how they did it. It's never gonna get sick or quit. It's never gonna get a boyfriend. It's never gonna try to poach your clients. Okay, so it's very important that the first step is automate. You try to automate as much as you can, and then what you can't automate. Okay, and there's a second step here. What you can't automate, or you can automate to a certain extent, then you can have your delegate, right? You can have your delegate, whether that be a VA or a contractor or whatever it is, come in and either take over the automation process for you. Like, for example, my assistant, her name's Jacqueline. She's written 70 something newsletters for me. She's never written a marketing email in her life. It's because I've set up an AI that knows how to write newsletters and marketing emails. And I tell her, hey, can you write it? Can you write an email about whatever? She just uses my AI tool to write it. And she goes, hey,
Wow.
how did I do? And I say, oh, you did a good job on it. Go. And then she goes into the automation, into Active Campaign or whatever, and she schedules it up and she copies and pastes it all in there and gets it pretty and makes sure my signature's right. Boom. Right?
Yeah.
Now, the things that you can't automate and you can't delegate, it's something that only you can do. You either have to figure out what that last D is, because see, I said the word delete earlier, but the other word, if you're not going to delete it, is to do it. Okay.
Nice.
And a lot of people don't like to do things, like me.
That's why you have VAs, right?
That's right.
So when you entered into the VA space, did the advent of AI make you nervous at all?
Oh my gosh. Interesting you say that. I almost sold my business last year. I actually had an LOI from a client, a letter of intent, for a decent multiplier. Actually, the deal kind of stalled because I could tell that he wanted me to sell or finance it with my own profit. And I was like, meh, it's already a cash cow. So in November of 2022, when ChatGPT came out, I had a come to Jesus moment. And I said, is my business going to be around? Because why would someone hire a VA for me in the Philippines for $1,500 a month, which even is already an incredible steal for what we're providing, pre-trained executive assistants that know how to do all sorts of stuff. Instead, they can just use ChatGPT for free.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, that's tough. So
it is.
So I just was like, well, I just had a real heart to heart with my leadership team on that 9 to 9:15 call. And I said, guys, we're in trouble. We potentially have a risk here. And they didn't believe me. You know, my team was like, no way, we're way better. And then I remember on a Zoom call just loading ChatGPT up and showing them what it can do. And they were like, holy crap.
We should be nervous.
Yeah. So I created an AI division at VA Staffer. We have our little VAstaffer.com shirts that says AI division underneath it. I had it printed out for everybody. And then I flew to the Philippines in December, and I took my leadership team, put them all together, powwowed, and said, guys, how do we either use funny story was I actually went to the Philippines to say, basically, let's see if we can beat it. How can we do something better than AI? And we actually came up with the conclusion that we couldn't. So, you know, the old saying, if you can't beat them, join them.
Right. Yeah.
So we put the task force together and said, okay, well, look, our Filipino VAs, what are the things that they can't do right now that the AI can do better? And let's put together a training to teach all of our VAs how to use the AI.
Right.
And that's what we did. So we put together.
So you augmented the AI, the virtual assistants and their skill sets. And instead of saying, well, you know, you're replaceable, it's like, how can we augment your skill set with AI and make you even a better VA, right?
Bingo. Yeah, exactly. And the coolest part about that was they were super reluctant in the beginning. They were like, oh, why are we training our replacement, basically, you know? So like the AI, you know, we're doing all this stuff. And I said, guys, what are some things that we don't even do for our clients right now? Like, we don't have Filipino VAs write social media content because it sounds like Filipino English, not American English, right?
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that, you know, and they don't know marketing. And, you know, the learning curve for humans is so high. Like, it's really hard to teach someone how to be a good copywriter. You know, it takes months, if not years of real practice. I've been doing copywriting for a long time, and still I'm like learning new things every day. So the ability to literally train AI very quickly with a data set and instructions is way faster than training a human. So for me, I said, okay, I'm going to create a newsletter bot. I'm going to create a social media bot. I'm going to create what we call AI personas. Okay. These are like human-like employees. Okay. By the way, I want to point out something very important, Paul. The hardest part of getting AI integrated into the business was figuring out a way that would be simple enough for people to use it and not get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So I came up with this idea of, why don't we train it like a person? The AI persona is literally like, because if you go in there and say, hey, you want an AI to take over your stuff? And they're like, no. But if you go in there and say, how would you like to train an AI assistant that can actually help you with these things and do all the stuff that you don't like to do in your job? And then they go, oh, okay.
Now, is this all within GPT, or is this something else that you're using?
Well, now we're using all sorts of stuff. ChatGPT, Claude. I just did a training yesterday on Meta AI because I think this Meta AI is cool. Meta AI just came out with a massive update that does images, and it can support 1 million tokens of text now. And we just tested the training that I do for everyone in ChatGPT called AI Persona Method inside Meta AI. We tested it yesterday and it worked. So Meta AI, I would say, is way better than ChatGPT right now.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, it does struggle sometimes in going out to websites and actually pulling things from the website. ChatGPT, I believe, does better at that. But I think Meta AI, especially for the price, free, is going to be very hard to beat.
Yeah, that should make GPT a little nervous. So when it comes to training an AI, Is it simply you're creating a conversation and then filling it full of content, or is it creating the new GPTs that they have available? Like, and obviously everybody has different ways that they work, between, Meta and Claude and, Bard or whatever, Gemini, I think it's called now, and GPT, they all have their similarities, but they also have different ways that they work. If somebody wants to train an AI, they're like, I'm going to try this myself, and they probably end up calling you. But if they want to try it themselves, what's some simple things that somebody can try and see how this thing works out for them?
Number one, most everybody they think that you have to be good at prompts. You have to be like a prompt engineer to do AI. Okay. If you think that, you actually understand AI wrong. See, and this is what I love about my massive background in IT is like I threw all that stuff away when I started my VA business. I went all into marketing, right?
Yeah.
So now it's like, for me, it's like, oh my gosh, everything that I've loved my entire life is back. It's front and center. My favorite character in any movie and any show of all time was Star Trek: The Next Generation, Data. That dude, I'm dating ourselves here a little bit, but
Yeah.
for all you youngsters who have no idea who Data is, watch a couple episodes of the Star Trek Next Generation. It's going to be in 4:3. It's not going to be 16:9. All right. And just look at how this humanoid robot who has all the universe's secrets and all of mankind's algorithms and math and everything and history all put inside his I guess you can't say brain, it's in his hard drive. His memory. But he's really having a hard time understanding how to use the data. He has a very hard time communicating with humans because he's not human, and he's emulating what he sees humans do, and he's trying to become more human-like. And honestly, I feel that's how we are right now. Like, I feel like that's where ChatGPT and these other are right now. So back to your original question, it's more about the data, okay? And in the data, I mean copy sets, what information you're feeding it. So for example, I have an AI persona that writes a copy for me, and it does long form social media copy. Matter of fact, it writes copy so good that most people would never know that it's AI unless I literally say AI wrote this. As a matter of fact, you've probably seen it on my wall. I have people arguing with me saying that I'm lying.
I've seen that you've responded with AI as well.
The irony is that the guy said that I didn't really use AI to write it, and then I used AI to respond to him. And then I actually record a video of me using the AI because they don't believe me.
Awesome.
I have, and I'm not trying to pat myself on the back here, but all my experience in IT and everything and all my copywriting experience has finally become a super valuable tool for me to actually build really good AI models, basically, that can imitate my own writing style. Like, he was even taking screenshots and then like circling different things that he was like, I knew this wasn't AI because of these ellipses here. No one uses these, and the AI doesn't use this. And then I literally showed him a screenshot of my AI, and it did that.
So back to the question: is this a matter of feeding a bunch of content and directives into a conversation, or is this a little more detailed, a little more complex? And so for the business owner, or even for the marketer, or whatever, that's saying, well, I want to create something that talks like me, without giving away all your secrets, is there something that they could start doing to
I don't have
create
any problem giving away my secrets.
Yeah.
So number one, it's not, I wouldn't say complicated. It is a little bit more complex. It's kind of a twofold thing. Number one is the reason why most people suck at AI is because they actually suck at marketing. They suck at writing.
Yeah.
So they don't know what's good and bad. They see the results coming out from AI and they're like, yeah, that's great. Like, all of us has gone on Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever and saw something that somebody posted and was like right away, like, that was AI. Right?
Yeah.
Like, We all have that friend who never posts on social media, doesn't never use a hashtag in their life, but now magically they're posting like at least once or twice a day with hashtags. And we know this person doesn't know anything about Instagram or Facebook or hashtags, and we know it's AI, right?
Yeah.
So I think, Paul, as branding guys, this is what's really important here is that authenticity. So this is where the AI persona method comes in. The AI persona method is about building out an actual person who understands you, has a very specific role in your company, and does a specific thing. Like, for example, like I said earlier, a newsletter writer, right? Like an email marketer, social media copywriter. So very hyper personalized, understands your business, understands your target audience, understands how you feel, understands your own opinions and views. Okay. That's all programmable. Okay. But there's really two ways to get results from AI. Number one is to tell it what to do. The second is to show it what to do. Okay.
Okay.
By the way, both of those are very good. They're just for different things. So when people say, well, how do you get it? It depends on the output. Okay. What you are using, whatever tool you're using, what data you're giving it, how you're prompting it or instructing it, it all has to do with what your end result is. And you have to look, and this is where I'm so blessed because, I spent so much of my time in IT project management, and I know the value of working backwards, right? I know what the end result looks like, and I can reverse engineer what that's supposed to look like. And that's what I teach. Can I share my screen?
I don't know whether I've never done that with this. This will be an
figure this out. And for those of you who are just listening in, I'm going to read this off, so don't even worry about it. I'll explain.
And I will do a video version of this eventually once I have the time. But it says there is a share at the bottom of the screen.
See it. Yep, I see it. Oh, we're good. We're absolutely good. Check this out. All right, you see it?
Boom. We see it. Good afternoon, Jeff.
So this is my Claude account. This is one of my favorite things of all time to do here. This is one of my favorite models for a specific thing. Okay, like for example, building out my AI personas that do specific things for me. Claude is not it. It is not the guy. Okay? But Claude is an incredible tool that will take your existing data sets and your copy, and it will be able to analyze it and imitate your writing style. So I actually have something here called Jeff's most viral data set. Okay. Now, for those of you who are listening in, I'm actually going to show you, I'm actually going to share with you how simple and easy this prompt is right now. Watch this. I'm going to type in, write a viral post about how I just finished up on the Head Smack podcast with Paul. I can never pronounce your last name, Paul. I love you, but
Povolni.
Povolni. I got it. Paul Povolni.
Yeah, okay. Nice.
And we discussed the power of artificial intelligence and how most people think the magic of AI is in prompting, but in reality, it's about building out really good data sets of copy, also creating AI personas in ChatGPT and Meta.ai. Okay. All right. This is a pretty lackluster prompt because you notice that I'm not really telling it how to write. All I'm doing is I'm telling it what to write about. Right? Yeah. It's a very specific prompt. I'm just telling it, hey, write a viral post about the Head Smack podcast with you. And I told it a couple key takeaways to put in there. But what's magic here, maybe it's better if you read it to your listeners.
Yeah. Okay? Yeah.
It's gonna
now when you wrote this prompt, where is it pulling the data from? You mentioned about the data sets. Where is it pulling that data from?
Oh, you're getting ahead of me now.
Okay, it's starting to feed. It's starting to feed the viral post. I mean, it's
Yeah.
putting everything in single lines.
Yep. It's all in single line by line, just like I write. And the
Yeah,
sentences are so short, just like me. Look at this sentence right here. No, no is the sentence.
yeah,
So actually, I'll read this off and I'll explain it. Okay.
yeah,
I just dropped a truth bomb on the Head Smack podcast, The Real Magic of AI that most people miss. I had an absolute blast on the Head Smack podcast with Paul. We dove deep into the world of AI and its transformative power of businesses and individuals alike. But here's the thing. That's a sentence, by the way. Here's the thing.
yeah.
We didn't just rehash the same old talking points you've heard a million times. We didn't wax poetic about wonders of ChatGPT and potential of AI. No. We went deeper. We pulled back the curtain on the real magic of AI, the secret sauce that most people overlook. And it's not what you think. It's not about crafting the perfect prompt, although that's important. It's not about having access to the latest and greatest tools, although that helps. The real key to unlocking the power of AI, data. That's right. The magic is in the data, specifically in building out robust, high-quality data sets of copy. Think about it. AI models like ChatGPT and Meta are only as good as the data they're trained on. They only generate outputs based on the inputs they've seen. So if you want to create truly compelling, authentic, and effective copy with AI, you need to feed it the good stuff, the cream of the crop, the creme de la creme of copy.
Wow.
And that's where most people fall short. They focus on the prompts, the parameters, the settings, but they neglect the foundation, the fuel that makes AI engine run. On the podcast, Paul and I really dug into this idea. We talked about strategies for curating and organizing high quality copy data. We explored techniques for training AI models on specific brands, voices, and styles. We even dove into the concept of AI personas, creating fully fleshed out distinct personalities within ChatGPT and Meta. Imagine having an AI writing assistant that perfectly captures your brand voice, that understands your target audience on a deep, intimate level, that can generate compelling copy, engaging content, and persuasive messaging on demand. That's the power of AI personas. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. When you combine high quality data with the latest advancements in AI, the possibilities are endless. You can automate and optimize your content creation process, personalize your marketing and sales efforts. You can even use AI to help craft your overall business strategy and direction. But it all starts with data, with putting in the work to build out those robust, relevant, high quality data sets, with taking control of the inputs so you can master the outputs. That's the real success, the real secret to success with AI. And that's what Paul and I really hammered home with the Head Smack podcast. So if you're ready to take your AI game to the next level and you're ready to go beyond the basics and tap into the true potential of this transformative technology, it's time for you to focus on your data. It's time to put in the work, the care, the attention to detail that separates AI amateurs from the masters. It's time to build out those killer copy data sets and create compelling AI personas. Because when you do, the magic will follow. The results will speak for themselves. You will be unstoppable. Don't sleep on the power of AI. Don't fall into the trap of thinking it's all about the prompts. Embrace the real success to AI, and let's create some magic together.
Wow.
Dang.
Wow. And that was
Right?
all, like, it wasn't one big paragraph. It wasn't a series of paragraphs. Like, a lot of these are like, a lot of people post on social media. Everything is almost a sentence. And it did that. And even had some emojis in there. And
Yeah.
I mean, it was, dude, that was crazy. I need to have that write my introductions or my summaries of my podcast, man. I've been
Absolutely.
really sucking at that.
You know what, Paul? It's crazy. I used to pay somebody, I'm not going to say how much, but let's just say a decent amount. Okay. This is an American.
Yeah.
So just to listen to my podcast and then take the transcripts and then write show notes.
Wow.
One of my clients right now has a very big podcast production company, has dozens of podcasts that they do. And I've actually helped them over the past few months dial in the process with AI. And they have 14 people on their team that are involved in the transcription process to the show notes. And it's interesting because after we did our second call, and after the second call, they actually sent me a message and they said, "Hey Jeff, I know you probably have experience with this. We do not, but how do we talk to our team about how the AI can pretty much do their job?"
Wow.
And,
Wow.
they spend thousands and thousands of dollars a month on people to do what AI can do in moments. And
Wow.
to answer your question that you said before I started reading, the reason why this is good is because I've given it 100 of my most viral social media posts of all time. And I've literally had it analyze and learn how to write like me. I've course
Wow.
corrected it a few times. Like this one here actually is too long. I would
Yeah.
probably copy it and I'd probably get rid of all the things that I don't like. And I would paste it back in there and say, hey, here's how I would have wrote it. And it would be like, oh, I noticed that, you cut out, a third of the content and you cut out this and that. And then whenever I ask it to do a correction, here's a little bonus tip for everybody, especially for anyone who's a copywriter. When I'm done, I say, here's how I would have written it. And the prompt is analyze what I did different and how you can learn from this in the future.
Wow.
And it will
Wow.
usually say, well, I noticed that you got rid of the emojis, or you cut down the length of it, or you got rid of some of the repeating things that I was doing. Like it did repeat itself a bit on this. It's like
Yeah.
the same point like 3 times. Like hitting the same point twice, I get it if it's a very important thing, but it was like 3 times,
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it talked about the data, then talked about the data, and then it ended with the data,
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's things as a copywriter, I'm just like, So, but again, this is not an AI persona. This is specifically built to do one thing, which is to copy my writing style and write like me. So there's different
Yeah.
ways to use AI that I teach my clients. So
Yeah.
one is to really imitate writing style. That would actually be number 2. The first thing is, can you get an AI persona to actually help you in your business, have a specific role, and do things?
Yeah.
Okay, there it is.
That was amazing. That was amazing. So going back to what the post was about and what you talked about, the data set, is that you said you feed it a bunch of content. Is it just one single conversation that this is in, or does
I
Claude
have
offer a feature that?
a 197-page Word doc that has my top 100 posts of all time. And it's interesting because I'm a huge data geek, probably like you.
Yeah.
And I have a virtual assistant on my team. His name's Clarence, that has been collecting all of my social media content since 2017. At the end of every month, he goes back and he just copy and paste all my posts, and he copies and pastes how many likes they get, how many comments they get, how many shares they got, documents if it's a long form post, short form post, video, image. Then we even go into the topic. Is it about virtual assistants, personal branding, politics? So I know what my audience wants. And this is actually the majority of work that I do with my clients is building out data sets.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
once you have the data sets, using it with AI is pretty simple.
Yeah.
So I think,
and so you feed that Word document into Claude and say, use this as a reference, and then write stuff. I mean, that's super simplifying it, but that's essentially what it is.
look how simple this prompt is right here. You're gonna die when you see this. You can annotate this for your audience. Get ready for this. Look at that prompt.
Based on the document provided, which appears...
No, that's not my prompt.
Oh, analyze my writing style. That's a prompt.
The prompt is that with 100 of my most viral posts.
Wow.
Analyze my writing style and take a look. Based on the document provided, which appears to be an ebook titled 100 Viral Posts, version 4. It says here's some key elements. Short, punchy paragraphs. You write in short paragraphs, usually 1 to 2 sentences each. This creates a fast-paced, easy, digestible style. Numbered list. Much of the content is structured into numbered lists, breaking down stories and lessons into clear steps. Casual tone. Your writing has a friendly, conversational tone, as if you're speaking directly to the reader. You use colloquial expressions like shoot, even the occasional expletive.
Expletive, yeah.
Yeah. Powerful stories. You rely heavily on personal stories and anecdotes to illustrate your points. Repetition for emphasis. You frequently repeat words or phrases for emphasis, hammering home your main points. For example, I'm unique. I plan to stay that way. Rhetorical questions. Motivational style. Blunt insights. You don't mince words when making a point. You mix long and short sentences. You have a second person voice. You speak directly to the reader using the second person you, creating a sense of immediacy and connection. So
Wow.
already it's got a good feel for what I do, and it wouldn't be able to do so if I didn't have a big enough data set to understand.
Right. And so that's and just like the posts that it created, it is all about the data sets. And so collecting all this content, collecting all this information, and then asking it simply to analyze it. And then you just keep that conversation going, right? After it's done the analysis, after you've done some adjustments, you just keep that conversation going in that thread and feed it new. Right now, write a post on this topic.
All I have to do once I get it dialed in, so usually when it first comes back, I'll have to make some edits to it, and I'll say, hey, here's what you should do. Here's how I would have written it. But once it gets dialed in, then all I have to do is literally write what I did earlier, which is write a viral post about whatever. And then it just goes because it already knows how I think. And the best part about loading it up with your own data sets, it already is pulling all the data from my life. They're all my social media posts. Yeah. So for someone who's like me, who's dedicated themselves to writing a post a day at least on social media, and usually thoughtful posts, not just like short little things, like now I have an entire database of cool stuff. So for those of us that are copywriters, we have a huge advantage right now in the age of AI, because if you don't have your own data set, you're going to rely on ChatGPT and Claude and Meta to write like them, or the data they've collected. And the data they collected sucks.
Well, and I see the value in doing this for yourself and collecting your own data, collecting anything you've written, anything you've spoken, anything you've done, and basically feeding it your life.
Bingo.
And that's absolutely amazing. I also see where you could use this, and if you had a PDF of a particular person, that you could actually have it write in the style of that person, back to you, and so you could feed it a book by whatever, a popular marketer or whatever, totally. And you could actually have it give you content based on that data, which is absolutely crazy.
Are you ready for a joke?
Yeah. Go.
What is something you never ask a woman?
I'm not even going to try. What is something you never ask a woman?
What is something you never ask a woman?
I don't know. I'm going to get myself in trouble, man. I don't know what
you never ask her age.
Right. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
How much do you never ask him, or you never ask how much she weighs?
Right. True.
What is something you never ask a man?
I don't know.
How much money he makes. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
What do you never ask an AI company?
I have no idea.
Where they get their training data.
Yes.
In other words, when OpenAI first came out, they were an open source company, right? That's when Elon Musk funded them, when they were an open source company. And basically they said, hey, here's the books that we've fed our language model. Here's some of the writings we've done. Here's some articles that we fed it, this and that. But then something weird happened. They went private. They know how much that data is worth now. They're a data company, let's be honest.
Yeah.
And now they've removed everything that they've absorbed into the language model. Why would they do that? Because they're going to get sued, right? Like, of course, if you're using data from me, I'm going to get upset. Like, if you go into ChatGPT and do like, hey, write something in the style of Dan Kennedy, right? Yeah. And then it literally looks and feels and sounds like something he would write. Like, if I'm Dan Kennedy, I'm pissed.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. Right. So somebody could write his next book without him actually touching it.
Right. And then what's to say, like you said earlier, you could just go to your favorite author, go to your favorite social media influencer, copy a bunch of their posts, put them in a friggin' Word doc, and then you can literally feed it to your AI and write like them.
Oh my goodness. Wow. It's scary and it's awesome. I mean, that's the thing that people have, at least I've said it about AI. AI is like a really pretty snake. Like it's, it's like awesome, it's amazing, it's beautiful, but it could also have a dark side that, we don't have time to go into all of that. But even, just the even the bias that sometimes AI will have that most people
Oh,
don't
it's
even really
massive.
realize.
Oh, it's massive. Yeah. I mean, Google Gemini had a big flop not too long ago with their images. I thought you posted about it actually,
Yeah, yeah,
where, if you typed in, a picture of the founding fathers, it was literally all like there was Asians and black and, these people, there's not one white person.
right,
And it was like they had such a strong push to push an agenda that it wasn't accurate anymore.
right.
And there's also an innate bot. You have to also think, and this is why, by the way, I have to tell you, I've made quite a bit of money as an AI consultant last year.
Yeah,
I have it documented $282,000 and something um, in revenue that I did last year, and a lot of it was because a lot of my clients are, I would say, like in the financial sector, and they were having really hard problems with the AI actually writing about the things that they're doing because they said, "Oh, this sounds like a scam. This sounds like a risky investment." And a lot of their opinions are counterculture, which of course
mm,
is against what people do here in America. Like like a chat GPT would say, it's fear mongering. But if you talk
yeah.
about the crashing of the dollar and why you should invest in something else, ChatGPT and these other language models are going to say, "Well, I don't know about that. The dollar's doing just great," right?
Yeah. Well, and I think that's where it gets bad with AI is you can't trust it. Initially when people were using, GPT when it first came out, they were super excited. Oh my goodness, I can have it write on any topic and I can have it write on this and that. And then when people started like asking it to write on a certain topic and write on one side and write on the other side, they found that, oh my goodness, like it won't do certain things. And I think when that veil got pulled back, I think it made a lot of people a little more concerned about AI. It's like, well, we thought we could trust AI. We thought it was a robot that had no leanings either way, that it didn't care who was putting the prompt in, and it just fed you truth. It just fed you data. And people are saying, well, man, if I ask her to tell a joke about one, presidential candidate, it will say, I can't do it. And then you ask her to write a joke on another presidential candidate and writes a joke, and like you had mentioned about, I think it was Gemini that had the diversity in who it put forth as things that you would have, well, this is actually a truthful historical character. You're not Disney. I want you to give me truthful representation, but it had a
I will
bias.
have to
And so
say though, Black George Washington was very, very handsome. You know, he was.
yeah, I mean, they were incredible images, but for something that people are hoping for truth and
So,
unbiased stuff, it's
have you played with the new Meta AI yet?
I did. I think I created some really cool images where I told it to create an image of Superman, who's also a samurai,
Ooh.
and who, what else did I have it do? And I made him a black guy, and so it was like the best image. Like I want to make a poster, but it was
Oh
like
my
so
god.
so cool.
You know
And
what? I'm going to share my screen again because
yeah,
this is for, I don't know if you're actually posting this video, but I'm going to describe it. One
yeah, I
of the
will.
things that I love about Meta AI is just how you can literally click that imagine button and it will start. And this is where I think training works really good because a lot of people are still not very good at actually prompting, like understanding how the AI thinks. You do have to understand how the AI thinks to get
Yeah,
good results from AI. So, like what you were just talking about, the samurai, whatever. What's really cool about it is when you come in here, and if you, by the way, for everyone listening in, all you have to do is go to meta.ai and you can use it for free
yeah,
with a Facebook
yeah,
account, which I also think is amazing. And think about the access this will provide and the power worldwide, right? Because even if,
yeah,
we as Americans and, Canadians and Australians and, us in the Western world, in the UK, like we kind of take for granted $20 a month. You know, like we spend $5 at Starbucks, you know,
Yeah.
for a
Yeah.
coffee that we can make for 20 cents. You know?
Right. Right.
And so like the ability to get that, there you go. Let's make a Starbucks something. Okay. Let's do this. All right. Let's use some creative juices. We want to do a coffee scene. What's a good, how about two people looking at a laptop while sipping sipping a cappuccino at Starbucks? Huh?
All right. Well, let's try two former presidents
Ooh,
sitting in a Starbucks. Let's see how smart
two
it is.
former presidents sitting at a Starbucks, looking at a computer screen with a
Wow.
what the?
I don't know who these former presidents are.
I'm pretty sure we got some bias here, but see, that's the problem. I don't think like if you use Stable Diffusion, it will do it better.
Yeah.
But you know, I think on purpose they try not to use actual public figures, you know, because they don't want to be like, oh,
well, let's just do two superheroes sitting in a Starbucks.
Now, superheroes we can do
because it'll create a generic one. And you know what's interesting is I had actually had, I can't remember if it was GPT or if it was Meta. I told it to do Superman sitting on a mound of superhero helmets that he had conquered and now is looking sad. And so it created that. And then I asked it another prompt, and suddenly it said, you know, we can't represent any, you know, real superheroes or whatever. And I'm like, but you just did. And it goes, well, thank you for correcting. You know, like AI was like, oops, you know, it was like, oh no, I did something I shouldn't have done. And when I called it out, it was like, yes, oh, I'm sorry, I did do that, and I should not have done that. There you go, Superman and Batman sitting at a Starbucks looking at a computer screen, and that's amazing.
We want something here. What are we thinking here? I mean, by the way, this is a very good image it already made. Like, this is a really great image. Like,
well, and what's crazy is it was creating the image as you were typing it, which is just absolutely bonkers. Like,
see, that's the part I think is the best for learning, because even if I don't ever press enter here, I can see kind of how the AI is imagining what I'm typing, right?
Yeah.
And if you think about it, I think imagine is actually a really great word. You know, credit to Midjourney because they came up with it. But
yeah,
you know, the AI imagining what we're trying to talk about is a true accurate description. Like right now, I typed in Superman and Batman sitting at a Starbucks looking at a computer screen. And literally, it's got Superman and Batman's looking pretty buff in this, not gonna lie.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's you know what? I should take a screenshot of this so we can show your viewers later. I'm gonna take a screenshot of that.
This is fantastic.
Yeah, that's a good one, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I'm gonna send this over later. So let's finish this thought out. This is a fun way to end it, actually. So Superman and Batman sitting at Starbucks with a something. Just give me a rant. We got to do something that doesn't sound obvious. It's got to be an object that's just like, why would that be there? You know,
with a barista that is a clown.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Looking at a computer screen, and the barista handing them their drinks, their coffee, is a clown. Oh, there you go. How about evil clown?
There you go. Let's see if it does a Joker. Oh man, it gave Batman a Superman cape.
Whoa. Okay. I think that's just kind of like, it's kind of like quick version. We're going to see what happens when we press enter and see what happens here. Let's see. Oh. There we go. Now we're cooking.
Oh wow,
that's a good one. Okay.
That's a good one.
But this one here, that's pretty funny right there, right?
Dude, the one in the bottom right, that's the one right there. Look at that.
Oh, that's a good one.
Except what it's done is it's made Batman into an evil clown. The
Yeah.
barista is, I don't know what the barista is up to.
You know what that evil clown looks like? He looks like that Brazilian judge that everyone's talking about.
Yeah, it's like a combination of Batman and It and a few others. Well, that it is absolutely amazing what it
That
could
one
do.
looks
I
the
mean,
best.
yeah,
Definitely.
that's pretty wild. That's pretty wild. And that
Yeah.
was all just it was creating while you were typing, and then it just fed it right there and then.
Yeah. I'm
That is
downloading that.
crazy.
I'll send that to you after this. But anyway, that's the power, and
Yeah,
that's the
yeah.
reason why I did that. For those of you listening in, it literally made Batman and Superman on the computer at one of those stand-up kind of style desks, at Starbucks. And literally, there's the evil clown looking over them from the back.
I mean that is crazy. That is crazy. One of the things that AI is making, it made your VAs nervous. It made you really nervous to the point where you wanted to sell your business.
Right.
Who should be nervous that isn't nervous right now?
The people that should be nervous, pretty much any social media marketer, manager, because creating content like that is going to be very easy to do with AI. Already is very easy to do with AI, and crazy people like me are already creating apps that with knowing that I can replace your copywriter with an app that you can pay me for X amount of dollars a month. Right?
Wow.
Like, I am a marketer. I already know that. Like, I know for a fact, because I have people that have paid me thousands of dollars to get on a call and literally set this up for them with my own data set. They're like, I don't even care about how good I write. I love how you write. Can you come in and we use your data set and you set it up? I literally get on a call for about 90 minutes for $3,000. I do that all day.
Yeah.
Wash, rinse, repeat.
Yeah.
So
wow.
If I know that I can replace an entire copywriter for a $3,000 call, I know that this is an app I got to make. So
yeah,
social media. Number two, pretty much any email marketer. Email marketers, they have to be very careful, because I just did a JV webinar yesterday, actually, with Mike Fulsami's group over at the Groove Funnels guys and Tom Beal. And they had asked, hey, do you have any swipe emails to get people excited for the webinar? And I was like, no. I whipped out some warm-up webinar templates that I found on a swipe file online. I literally copied and pasted it, made it a data set, imported into my Claude account, and said, okay, I gave it information on the webinar that I'm doing and the host and what my topics are. And then I even uploaded my presentation slides. And
wow.
I said, I'm giving this presentation. I need you to use these webinar warm-up emails as a template and basically create an email series for this presentation. And it literally came up with copy paste, never had to modify emails that when I sent over to him, he says, wow, these are some of the best emails he's read. And then they had really high open rates. I gave him 5 different subject line options, because why not? It cost me nothing. It cost me one prompt in Claude.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then even afterwards, he goes, hey, crap, do you have a replay email sequence? I went and looked for a replay email sequence, and I did the same exact thing. Yeah. And he's running them over. It created 8 emails in about 10 minutes.
Wow.
And I didn't modify anything. I copied and pasted them, and I sent them in a Google Doc, and I said, here you go.
Yeah. Who else should be nervous that isn't?
Any business who is not thinking about how to use AI will feel really stupid, because right now, I'm going to give you a very crazy stat. How many businesses do you think in America, okay, we'll just stay in America here because that's where I'm at. How many businesses in America do you think, percentage-wise, are using AI right now? Actually using it in their business?
Wow, I would say...
Give me a percentage.
5%.
Less. 3.8% by the government census that was just put out. Okay.
Wow.
The last census in November 2023, predicted that it would go to 6.4% by the end of 2024.
Yeah.
6.4%. So
really, only that much?
Do you want to know another crazy stat?
Yeah.
Business Insider just published a report that over 91% of employers are searching for someone who has AI or ChatGPT experience. So right now, there's 3.8% of businesses that are using AI. 91% of businesses want someone who knows how to use AI. I think the only real stupid people are the ones who aren't taking advantage of that, like me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to these businesses and saying, hey, what if I can help you out and show you how to use AI? Or, hey, I've redone my business, by the way. What I told you, I kind of alluded to that, but I basically rebranded my entire VA company to be AI-powered virtual assistants. So now we have the best of both worlds. Human VAs know how to use AI, right? So I'm already seeing what I call the AI disparity gap between the businesses that are using AI and that aren't.
Yeah.
We'll paint one more picture for any business owner, anybody who's not using AI. On average, all of us have the capacity to increasing our own output and productivity by 20% to 40%, depending on what type of work you do. Obviously, if you're a plumber, it's not going to help you that much. It might help you with the marketing side of it, but it's not going to do any plumbing for you yet. Now, if you're a pool guy, you're in luck. I saw there's already an AI pool bot. You drop in there, it literally cleans your pool. It comes back up to the top and waits for you to pick it up. Okay.
Wow.
So, but is that coming? I don't know. I have a robot that sweeps and even mops my tile floors. So maybe the plumber's coming next. But think about this. If you only got 20% increase in productivity at your work in a 5-day work week, that is an additional day of work. That's 6 days that you get in 5 days of work. The beautiful piece of this is that over a month, there's 4 or so days, there's 4.5 or so weeks in a month. That's almost getting an entire week of extra work every single month. And it doesn't cost you anything. You can use Meta AI for free, right?
Wow.
I did the math. It compounds.
Yeah.
In a 1-year period, you will have a 900% increase in productivity in your business.
If you use AI.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which means if you're the company who's not using AI right now, sure, it might not hurt, because it's only been a year, right? And not everybody's been adapting to it. Your competitors probably are barely starting to use it. You won't feel it right now. You won't feel that extra day a week right now. But in 12 months from now, when your competitor's getting 900% increased productivity, they're doing 900% more, you're going to feel it.
Wow. And so you've got your finger on the pulse of what's going on with AI, because it's the core of what you're doing now. What do you see as being next? Like what's next for this?
There's a couple things. First off, I think that Meta has been playing. I might actually put some money in Meta right now, not financial advice, because when Meta just came out and released Meta AI for free, I didn't, when it first came out, it kind of sucked. But now that I'm seeing, like, you can't even open up Facebook and not see Meta there,
right.
AI is everywhere in there. And Zuckerberg doubled, tripled, quadrupled down on it, because now we're finally seeing where the AI is coming. And I also think they have such a huge head start on one of their most big competitors that people don't think about, which is Apple. Yeah. Apple released the Apple Vision Pro. Meta already has a $400 version of Quest, which is a wearable device that we just found out already is going to be integrating Meta AI.
Wow.
Their Ray-Bans they released, they just said that they're going to be updating a new version release that will allow you to use the AI at any time. So not only will you'll have augmented reality through the glasses, you'll be able to also click anytime you want and get it to do stuff for you. You'll have the access of Meta AI everywhere you go. And I have to tell you, Meta AI's update that we just played with is really damn powerful.
Yeah. And I think I just recently saw an article where Apple is actually scaling back on its wearable headset. It's not doing as well as they had thought it would.
It's a $3,500 toy.
Well, and they've started so late on it, and they've also not made it affordable for most people. The people that can afford it have been kind of dorky, walking around, riding in trains. It's kind of like, I don't want to be that person. So I think they've positioned themselves badly, but also they're just not. They're just iterating right now. They're not innovating a whole lot. And I think Meta and Google are just like on top of it, just like this is the future. And Apple is like, maybe they'll do something. Like there's been no whispers of it. There's been hopes. And so, what Meta is doing is just amazing. Google is trying the space, but I think Google needs to be nervous in that I think people are going to stop using Google to search, and they're going to type in
Boom.
prompts.
That's a great prediction.
Yeah.
That's a great. Someone was just on my. So I have every Wednesday night I have a call with my AI consultants in my program, and that was interesting because that's one of the things that popped up just now was that one of the consultants says she doesn't use Google anymore. Like, why
Yeah.
would she? Because we have Perplexity AI, which is very good, by the way. If you haven't used Perplexity.ai, it's really good at finding credible sources and doing searches off credible sources. It's better, and it fills through all the, like Google really tries to control what you search for and what
Right.
shows up.
Right. And people have learned to manipulate it.
Right. And Perplexity AI just does a better job. It actually scans the internet. It really looks from a contextual, uses AI to scan instead of an algorithm. Like, technically it's all an algorithm, but it uses AI to scan, analyze, and say, is this actually what this person is looking for? And it's really good at coming up with stats and things like that. So, I think, Google does have kind of a wake-up call coming if they do not. The only way I can see Google surviving this is Google just becomes an AI search engine.
That is exactly what I think they're going to do, and they have to do, because or they're going to separate search, and search for information is going to be very different to searching for things. And so that, they're going to have to learn how to separate those, because what's happening is people have learned to play the system. The algorithm, the things that they're using to feed you back stuff is not always accurate. I try to find, when I was setting up my podcast system, best microphones, and you don't get a website that has literally real reviews of the best microphones. You have somebody that's learned how to game the system.
Marketing. Yep.
Yeah, use the right words, affiliate marketing, use the right keywords, and they show up, but it's not like a real review. And so people are like, forget that. And so I actually went into GPT and typed in, based on reviews, custom on purchases, like, prompted it with a lot of things. And then I got a result back that was better. And so I think, with Google, they're going to have to look at separating. If I'm just trying to find plumbers, I can Google it. If I'm going to find information, then I Gemini it, or if I want to find, knowledge, two different things. Things and knowledge might have to separate at some point, because right now it's not working.
You know what? And I know that you and I are both brand guys. This is also why the brand is so important, because what's going to show up when you use Meta to find yourself? What are you going to find?
Yeah.
What happens when ChatGPT, you look up who you are, and ChatGPT doesn't know who you are? Like you and I, we've obviously from the branding world, so like we understand the value. So it's no surprise when someone says, who is Jeff J. Hunter in any of those AI platforms, it's going to say who I am.
Yeah.
Right. And it's going to have relevant content because I intentionally created that content and became, it's awesome because I was actually looking up myself on Meta, and on Meta, it actually puts the sources that it finds information from. And when I said, who is Jeff J. Hunter? It was like, oh, Jeff J. Hunter is an author, an entrepreneur. He has a virtual assistant company with over 150 VAs. He's the founder and creator of the AI persona method. And it had like, boom, AI persona method link. Boom, Jeff J. Hunter biography on my entrepreneur.com bio, because I'm a writer there, which I didn't even think it would pull from. It pulled my author bio from Amazon as well. So it's like, this is a really good time for building an authority brand, especially since Everybody's going to be able to fake it with AI. By the way, HR departments around the world, they also have a problem. They're never going to be able to trust a resume again.
Wow.
I have literally created what I call the perfect resume and cover letter creator. All someone has to do is copy and paste the job description and then fill out some information about themselves, and it will write the perfectly crafted job description. And then afterwards, it will write a perfectly crafted cover letter addressed to the person or whoever the recruiter or job lister is. So, like, I've made someone's HR life miserable.
Well, and it's you've worked the tools that are available to do the stuff that people would have to do manually anyway, and that's what AI is doing. It's just it's shortening the time frame of concept to creation,
and it's perfectly in alignment with my entire life, because I've always been about leverage, whether it's humans or AI or whatever.
Yeah.
The point is, it comes back to that ADD, right? Am I going to automate it before I delegate it? Am I going to do it or delete it? Yeah. And that's pretty much how the show goes. And I think that we right now, just maybe some actionable advice to your listeners. Number one, focus on the brand. Like, you need to build an authority now, because there's a lot of fakers out there, and people are actually clinging to who they should actually believe right now. Okay.
Yeah.
So be that person people believe. Number two, you need to foster a community. You should be building a Facebook group. You should be building a podcast. You should be building an email list, a newsletter. You need to be literally curating people that want to get information from you, that trust you.
Yeah.
Okay. And the last thing that I'll say is that you have to be able to take a stand. You have to be authentic. You have to be yourself. And you have to be very careful when you do use AI content. You have to be very careful that people either like for me, using AI is part of my brand, right? So like people are like even guessing like, did Jeff write this or did AI Jeff write this? Right? Which is fun. It's a fun part of the brand.
Right.
But on the second side, once people start seeing that you're using AI, and you have to remember, a lot of times they'll think that you are not valuing them.
Yeah.
That you are not valuing the relationship that you're building with your community. So be very weary of that. And there's a right time to use AI, and there's a wrong way to use AI that will damage your brand. So
yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, I appreciate your time. I want to kind of close out with one final question. You've had quite a journey. You've had quite a bit of experience in the stuff that you've done, and it's kind of all converged into who you are now. What would you tell to somebody that's like you? What would you say to that person that's where you were? What would you tell them today?
I would say, think about what you're doing, because it's almost like being red pilled. Like, once you become an entrepreneur, it's very hard to go back. When I was in my situation before, I thought I was good, and I had a nice cushy 6-figure job. They gave me all the golden handcuffs you can think of: company car, company computer, company credit card. Never had to pay for gas or food or nothing.
Yeah.
And I got a nice salary, 6 figures, right? And when I left, I just wished I had saved more money, and I wish I had prepared more, because it took like 1 month before I was broke.
Wow.
So when you start a business, I don't think most people realize how costly it is. So build your nest egg. If you are in a corporate job right now, build your nest egg. Now, if you're not in a corporate job and you're just a bustling, hustling entrepreneur, you really need to focus on adding value to people's lives. Like, I knew that I was adding value to people, but I didn't realize probably until 5 or 6 years ago how important it is that when I sell something to somebody, when I offer something to somebody, I'm going to actually do bigger and better and more than what I originally said I was going to do, because I want them to think every time that they think about me and using me or buying my programs or signing up for my service, that I'm actually going to do better than the expectation that I set for them. And that's really important. That's the type of trust you have to live by today.
That's awesome. And thank you so much, Jeff. This has been amazing. We haven't even touched on how to be a savage marketer. We could talk on AI forever. Absolutely love talking about AI because it's such a big thing, and there's so much to unwrap when talking about AI. And we haven't talked about branding, so we're gonna have to do this again sometime.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you so much for having me, Paul. And for
Hey,
all
thanks
of
for
the
being
people
on.
out there, for the Head Smack podcast, you guys just, do it. Like, don't be afraid. Just don't be afraid to go crazy. Look, it happened to me. I felt like I didn't have enough money when I did it, but sometimes, you got to kind of jump off the cliff before you fly.
Man, how do people that want to be a part of your world, they want to connect with you, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
JeffJHunter.com is my website. You can feel free to go there. Also, I have a newsletter. It's called Just a Tip. So if you go to savagemarketer.com, you'll see I have a newsletter on the very front of the website, just savagemarketer.com. And I'm excited to keep sharing tips. If you have any questions about that, I'm always on social media. I do want to warn you guys, though, I've been out of room on Friends for like 5 years. So if you want to add me on social, it's got to be Jeff J. Hunter on LinkedIn or Instagram.
That's awesome, man. Thank you so much. You have an amazing day, and you're truly a misfit, man.
Thanks, Paul. Appreciate it.
Take care.